everything's dirt cheap. You know, everything you need and to sustain yourself is actually quite cheap. But everything's here. Everything's here. It's, you know, internet, the cinemas, you know, pharmacy, hospitals. You get all the amenities of the West, but at a much lower cost.
Hey friends, Sean from SGT Report. That was the voice of my friend and contributor at SGT Report, Matt. He's a great guy. He lives in the UK, but he spends many months every year living in Thailand. And boy, does he have some interesting insights about Thailand. I think this is going to be an interview that you guys are going to enjoy. The first part of the interview is about current news, and then we bridge into life in Thailand, which sounds pretty appealing, especially for any of you baby boomers who may be retiring or retired and want to make your dollars stretch a whole lot further. Stay tuned for that. Hey, by the way, I want to thank my patrons. Let me show you what's going on at YouTube, guys. This is the dashboard of my most recent video, the interview with Spiro. And as you can see, there are certain boxes you can check or uncheck. For instance, users can view ratings for the video, allow embedding, and this one, which is grayed out, publish to the subscriptions feed and allow notifications to subscribers. Now, it's grayed out and I can't do anything. I can't click it or unclick it, which given the decline in my view counts over the past year was sort of puzzling. So I tweeted to @TeamYouTube, to YouTube specifically, to YouTube creators, and to Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, writing, can I get the courtesy of a reply? This is actually my second tweet about this issue because they refused to tweet back. So I asked again, why is the publish to the subscriptions feed and allow notifications to subscribers line grayed out on my channel? Are you not allowing that function to happen for my videos? Are people not being notified? Again, they refused to respond, but I did see a reply from Dabu who said the same exact thing is happening over on his channel. So guys, the effort to shadow ban us and prevent you from seeing our videos continues. So I just ask you to click the notification bell and make sure you stay subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate it. And before we begin this interview with Matt, just a quick word from this interview's sponsor, the solar water heater. It's an amazing way to heat and boil water outdoors using the sun. Depending on conditions, the solar water heater can heat water in as little as 30 minutes, and it will work anywhere the sun shines. It's eco-friendly, it's free energy, it's easy and clean, no electricity required. It's great for tea, coffee, noodles, cooking rice, sterilizing water, and it's only 2.6 pounds. It's truly an unlimited source of free energy. And it's also the perfect gift. And this is the last chance to get 15% off the new 2020 model before they sell out. Use coupon code SGT15 to save 15% off your purchase. Take advantage now and give the perfect gift for the outdoorsman. Visit solarwaterheater.com. I'll leave the link below this video. And let's begin. I've got a real treat for you today. This is a departure from our usual interviews with folks we've had on before, and it's with my good friend and primary contributor to sgtreport.com, Matt. He's just a fantastic guy. He's born and raised in the UK, but he spends a lot of time in Thailand, and he's got some really interesting insights to share about that and so much more. Matt, how are you?
I'm fine, Sean. How are you?
I'm good, man. Welcome back. It's good to talk with you. We talked about a week ago and we were going to do this, and we just bumped the date to today, so we had a little bit more time. And I just wanted to introduce you to the audience because you do such a great job over at SGT Report, helping me post real news from sources we trust 24 hours a day, every single day, the antidote to corporate propaganda. Matt, you live in the UK usually. Right now, I think you're in Thailand, so we can talk about that. But first, let me just do a screen share and show you this video. Did you happen to see this over the weekend flyover with Trump on board? Because to your point, he then landed and they did a limousine cavalcade around the whole Daytona 500. And let me share this reaction from some folks that got to witness the whole thing. Listen to this soundbite.
It was exhilarating to have him so close. I mean, I love Trump. He's awesome.
You know, I just think it's nice to see our president get involved with our activities and be part of our country.
It was awesome. It's the best thing. That's one of the reasons we came for.
This is an American sport, and we were happy to see our president support us.
God bless America.
God bless America. Your thoughts on President Trump versus the Democrats that want to dethrone him?
Oh, where do you start with that one? Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a flair, hasn't he? He's got that ability to just connect with average people and talk to them on a level that they understand. He's sort of talking their language all the time. How do you describe the Democrats as anything other than utterly crazy at this stage? Everything they're doing just looks utterly nuts. It's that simple, isn't it? Just everything they're doing just looks like, what are you doing that for? That looks insane in the eyes of just about everybody that's looking at it that isn't sort of a hardcore leftist. Normal people are connecting with Trump, I think, rightly or wrongly, but they're definitely doing that.
Well, and the thing is that contrary to what George Soros and the rest of the New World Order globalists want, President Trump is trying to return sovereignty to our nation and get us out of the Paris Accord, get us out of the climate change hoax, get us out of offshoring all of our factories and all of our manufacturing. And he's inspired quite a movement around the world in your neck of the woods. I think in part, President Trump helped bring UK citizens Brexit.
Yeah, he definitely did. I mean, the whole phenomenon of people in America embracing Trump and the British people embracing the Brexit is a very core rejection of this like elite liberal order that seems to be, or was until these events are hoving into view, that everybody sort of doesn't particularly like. It's not very intuitive, is it? This liberal order is a top-down bureaucratic, you will do what we tell you, and the Brexit and the Trump sort of phenomenon are very much people rebelling against that.
Were you surprised to finally see Brexit go through? I really thought they'd kick the can down the road forever until they finally got away with not doing Brexit.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, I think when we voted for it, I thought, even if we vote for it, it'll never happen. I mean, if there's one thing I've learned about the EU over the past 30 odd years, was it since the early 1970s, the one thing I've learned is they don't take rejection of their belief that they ought to be running things particularly well. I think the Danish got asked to vote again, the Irish got asked to vote again, the French got asked to vote again every time. And it was all, just keep going until you get the right answer. So I figured that we'd be pretty much the same. But I was pleasantly surprised that we actually seem to be carrying through with our thread.
Yeah, I think one of the most powerful symbolic pieces of video I've seen so far this year related to politics is the removal of the Union Jack flag from that stage, that altar, that headquarters for the EU. Returning sovereignty to a nation is a move for the people. And I just think it's really great to have seen Brexit happen. Did you happen to see that video where they removed the Union Jack from the EU?
Yeah. That was played a lot on British media at the time, and I think a lot of the British, certainly the Daily Mail, the what you call right of centre, the papers really picked up on that. It was the literally picking up our flag and folding it up and wandering off with it. It was kind of I think for the average guy in Britain, that was a very symbolic moment. It was literally saying, we're going. You no longer control us. I think that's what the whole thing of Brexit was about. I mean, the average guy on the street hates the EU. It's loved by the liberal order. It's loved by the parliamentarians, the House of Lords, the cronies that sort of get the EU funds. But outside the big cities like London, Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, that all voted to stay in, the whole country was against it. It's almost united what you'd call the conservative right and the working class left, this entire issue.
Well, and there are so many patriots helping to move the needle in the direction of sovereignty, Nigel Farage and others. And it's just, it's inspiring to see people try to stand up and take their sovereignty and take their nation back from the bureaucrats in Brussels. Yeah,
it was a CIA invention, wasn't it? The EU. I mean, as far as I'm aware, it was like conjured up at a Bilderberg meeting in like was it the mid 50s or something like that, and they started to talk about getting a political, or it's always the same, isn't it? You create trade deals that turn into political deals that then turn into like a legal and political infrastructure that's like been removing national sovereignty from everywhere in Europe for the past like 30 or 40 years. So this is the first time it's been actually rejected.
Yeah, and people around the world are starting to reject that kind of tyranny. And although I've heard
Yeah,
from
definitely.
Gemma O'Doherty in Ireland, and she said the reverse is true. There was just an election, and a bunch of socialists got into power. So it's sad to see. It's sad to not see this happening all over the EU. Every single one of these countries should want out.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, I think that there are certain fractions within a lot of the big countries, certainly the big paying countries like France and Germany, the net contributors to it. There's factions growing that they recognise that we've probably done the right thing, and they haven't, because it just leaves France and Germany paying for it now.
Well, let me ask you this. So you look at all the alt media news sites on a daily basis, obviously, as you're helping to put up great content at SGT Report. So what do you make of the current roster of socialists that want to be president? What do you make of the chances that any one of them could possibly defeat President Trump in November? Because you've seen the fake polls. I've seen the fake polls. Who could beat Trump?
No, none of them. I think any sane person looks at the Democrat Party now and just thinks there's an utterly crazy bunch of people. I mean, they're just impeachment. They're going for a second one now, aren't they? They're narrowing their field down and down and down. I mean, I don't know who they're actually speaking to in America now at all. There's the LGBT crowd. There's minority, very very minority issues, migrants maybe, and that's about it. The average people aren't connecting with them at all. I mean, clearly the establishment wants Joe Biden, but he's, without trying to sound funny, he sounds like he's losing his marbles a little bit. Was it a lying dog-faced pony soldier or something to a voter?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he insults his own supporters.
I mean, who comes up and says something like that to a voter that you want? And then there's Elizabeth Liawatha. She's just crazy. They're speaking to such a small audience of Americans that I think the longer a recession is staved off in the US, the more chance Trump's got of winning. I mean, if there's a recession tomorrow, all bets are off because they can blame capitalism, they can blame Trump, they can say, "Look, see, we told you." But as long as the Fed's printing 400 billion a month or something at the moment, whatever it is for the repo market, and can stave off a recession, the greater chances Trump's got of actually getting in. I don't really see anybody legitimately taking over. I think most people are going to reject Michael Bloomberg. I think he looks too fake, and I think even for the Democrats, he looks like he's buying their party.
Well, let me ask you about Thailand. I know that, first of all, again, you were born and raised in the UK, but you spend many months a year in Thailand, and I know you just love it. So I want to ask you about Thailand. But first, I should just ask if you're concerned at all about coronavirus, and now that you're in Thailand, are you seeing any concern rising from just the average citizens there?
Here in Thailand, I mean, I live in, I should tell everyone, I actually live in Chiang Mai, which is the very, very northern part of Thailand, and it does have direct flights to China. So very, very recently, certainly in the last month or two, the Chinese tourist trade has just dropped. I mean, the flights in and out of China, and as far as we can tell, China as an economy has just almost stopped. So tourist numbers are certainly down. I would think your average Thai at the moment, and the people around me, have got what I'd call an inquisitive eye on it. They're not panicking. There aren't riots on the streets. People aren't huddled away in little, their own houses, like barricading themselves in or anything. People are going about their daily business, but there's more masks on us and things like that. It's not big yet, mainly because there's I think there's only been one Thai death so far, and it's not really, the actual thing has not actually come out of China. Most of the deaths are so far, and certainly the people in critical condition are mostly in China, and that's kind of where we are at the moment. So, but yeah, in Thailand, it's not huge, but people have got an eye on it. Certainly I have.
Yeah, well, we'll keep our eye on it. It's a big story, obviously. Yeah. China's grinding to a halt, and that's going to affect the global economy.
Yeah, they've quarantined off 10 cities or something, haven't they? And you can see pictures of highways and stuff that are just nothing. And I think most of the major airports are actually closed down. Certainly one in Wuhan is. you know, it's just stopped as a production economy. So yeah, it's looking serious.
Let me ask you about Thailand. For those who've never been there like me, what do you love so much about Thailand? Why do you like to go there so often? I know cost of living is low. Tell people about that. But what else do you love about that culture, about Thailand?
In Asia, I suspect, and I've been to Vietnam and Cambodia and quite a bit around Thailand, that it's a very, very, what I call a face-saving culture, which means that there isn't too much confrontation when you talk to people. It's a very personable a place to be. You talk to a Thai that you don't know, and it'll all be very polite. There's no shouting, and the uber polite. It's called the land of smiles for a reason. It's just a really great place to be. And as you mentioned, the cost of living, culture. It's certainly got some of the best beaches I've ever seen in my life. The reason I'm out here in general is I see a sort of a move away from the Western powers. I think the Western powers are falling in influence, and I think the Asian powers are rising. I think I'm a big believer in Jim Rogers' philosophy, which is, if you'd have been very, very smart in the 19th century, or you'd have moved to London. If you'd have been very, very smart in the 20th century, you'd have moved to New York. And he thinks that if you're smart in the 21st century, you'll find your way to Asia. And right. certainly you can see that now. I mean, lots and lots of places around here now were fishing villages 30 or 40 years ago, literally, swamps on mud sands. And now there's tower and glass and, a genuinely production economies. It's changed a lot in the last 30 or 40 years, and you can actually see it. There's an optimism it's every culture around China and around Southeast Asia is improving, whereas I think the West is declining.
You mentioned something interesting. Jim Rogers moved his family to,
Singapore.
It Hong Kong? Singapore.
No, so Singapore, yeah, he lives there.
Yeah, I should talk to him. I should reach out to him and get his perspectives on the coronavirus and the global economy.
I think anybody who's made £1 billion or whatever it was in the 1970s and retired and has travelled around the world twice, I think he's certainly worth talking to and listening to.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, when you say that cost of living is really low in Thailand, can you give Westerners an example of that? How cheap is it?
The disposable income at the end of the month is considerably higher. And in Thailand, certainly I find all the people, the long-termers here, that they're here because of that quality of life, low cost of living balance. It is almost perfect. You can rent, I would suggest, I'm talking as a single person here, not a family, but you can rent a one-bedroom condo, all mod cons. It'd be as plush and as westernized as anywhere you'd find in New York. I would think for anywhere between $200, $300 a month. And if you move a little bit further out, into the couple of kilometers out the city, you can rent a 2-3 bedroomed house for a couple of $100 a month. Everything's dirt cheap. I mean, I can go out for a meal and just simple rice and chicken and things like that. That'll be a couple of dollars. Going to the cinema is $3 or $4. Taxi ride across the entire city. It's only about 5 kilometers wide, but a taxi ride across there would only be like $2 or $3 as well. Everything's dirt cheap. Everything you need and to sustain yourself is actually quite cheap. But everything's here. Everything's here. It's internet, the cinemas, pharmacy, hospitals. You get all the amenities of the West, but at a much lower cost. So if you have the ability to earn online, or in any way you earn your money location independently, it's a great place to be, because you don't need to earn as much to actually survive.
Right. Well, I'll do a screen share here. Let's look at some of these pictures you sent me, and let's talk about
I recognize that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the culture and about precious metals. Now, we know that people in India have gold sort of sewn into their DNA. It's part of the culture. They love gold. They love gold jewelry. They love to store their wealth and show their wealth in gold and gold jewelry. What do you see in Thailand? And I know you sent me some pictures. I guess they like silver and gold, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I think going around Thailand, in almost every mall there'll be a gold shop. I mean, we've got three or four malls here in Chiang Mai. But if you go in on one of the floors somewhere, there'll be a gold shop. As you know, that's a silver store where there'll be a gold shop somewhere on the floor where you can go in and buy gold in many different forms. But it's mainly jewellery. They don't tend to sell bullion coins and rounds. It all tends to be via some form of wearable wealth. And these little tiny stores that the gold store I sent you, that's literally locally to me. I went home to the UK over the summer and came back, and that had popped up while I was here, or while I was away rather. I was only away for 3 months, and I find a gold store right next to me, and it's a little suburb as well. It's not like like Greenwich in New York or anything. It's a little tiny place with a few hotels and a few, a little tiny street going through it. But yet there's a gold store popped up. There's quite a few of those.
That's really beautiful stuff. These bracelets here, these 925 fine silver, I guess that would be sterling. These are just beautiful. And, if they were at a Tiffany's in New York City, they would be priced through the roof. Did you happen to see the prices on any of these?
Yes, I did. I had a quick look around, and that was a stall on one of the roads going out of Chiang Mai. And I thought, I'll just pop in and have a quick look. Those bracelets are about 3 ounces. So in terms of, let's just say there's 3 ounces of spot silver. They should be around $60, but they're probably around 90 to buy. So there's quite a premium on the jewellery aspect here. But I don't know how much I could have bargained to get it off.
But that's such a bargain if you think what it would take to really create art like this. Again, if it was in the States and you found 3 ounces of silver molded into a beautiful bracelet, it would be several $100s, not $90 for sure.
Yeah, it was. I think I got quoted 3,000 baht, and which is about $105 ish or something like that. But yeah, look, they're very stunning. They're very, very beautiful. And if I want to buy silver in Thailand, I'd have to buy something like that. I can't buy a coin. I can't buy a Canadian maple with any degree of ease, or certainly I've not found that. There are no shops for it. Where there are plenty of shops and stalls that you can just go in and buy a bracelet.
Well, I tell you, man, if I come and visit you, I'm definitely going to want to go to that store and buy a bunch of those. I wonder how those are treated at customs, leaving the country and then entering the United States.
Jewelry, I think you're pretty good, aren't you? I don't know, just like drop a few on your wife's forearm. I'm sure she'll be thrilled. But yeah, I don't see any problem getting them through customs.
Yeah,
certainly jewelry wise.
Yeah, I guess I don't either. And those are really, really beautiful. What else do we have here? You sent me all sorts of neat things.
Yeah, bracelets. There's all sorts of things. Yeah.
They just don't have shops like this in the States. And even if you do find some 925 silver bracelets, again, it's going to be, an ounce of silver and it's going to be $170. Or if you go to Tiffany's, again, it's going to be $370 for something that only has, $40 of silver in it.
Yeah, that's quite a premium, isn't it? I mean, that bracelet there, specifically there, was the 3 ounce one I checked, and it's like literally, I would say $105, something like that. So there is quite a premium on it, but yeah.
Oh, that's a bargain.
But it's not $300.
Oh, that's just a bargain. I think that's fantastic.
I'll send you one.
Is that right?
Next time I go past it, I'll send you one.
I'll tell you what, I will send you the money to buy me one, and then we'll have to figure out what it costs to ship it. Thank you. Yeah, that's just.
I will certainly, next time I go past it, I'll pick one up for you then.
Yeah, I kind of like these right in here.
There's plenty of them around.
Yeah. All right. Well, you surprised me with whatever you think is the nicest looking one, because I think these are all fantastic. Of course, if my wife was with me, she would pick one that I wouldn't pick, and vice versa. But I think they're fantastic. Do men wear stuff like this, or is it primarily for women?
Do you know what? I've never really seen a man with it. So I presume it's women's jewelry. Certainly as a bracelet, I would suggest it's women's jewelry. But I mean, they don't tend to wear it just out and about.
I know.
That'll be good occasions, I think.
It gets a little weird when men wear jewelry, doesn't it? It's a little strange. It seems like all we have are watches. That's like the one piece of jewelry we can wear is, find a cool watch. It's sort of off limits for men.
Yeah, and a tie pin. Yeah. The watch and a tie pin.
I just think this stuff is so cool. It's a little Game of Thrones. I like it. It's very cool.
Yeah, there's plenty of it.
All righty. Well, anything else on your radar? Again, I just wanted to connect with you today and introduce you to the audience. You do such a fantastic job over there at SGT Report. And I guess if anybody is in your area in Thailand, they could reach out to you directly and you guys could meet up and have a pint, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of Irish bars over here still. Yeah, definitely. I mean, just drop your name in the comments, I suspect. And I'm quite happy to chat to people. Yeah, especially if you're going to be in Chiang Mai in Thailand. Yeah, so definitely.
All righty. Well, I'm going to have to try to get there as well. We've been talking about that for a couple of years, and
you definitely should. Yeah, I've been trying to convince you to come out here and subtly sending you photographs of beaches every week. But yeah, you should definitely come out here. Everybody should experience the East in general, certainly from the West, because it's an absolute eye opener. And I don't know anybody that's come here and not liked it. It's just a fabulous place.
Yeah. Yeah. My concern is I'd end up like you and I'd not want to go back.
Well, that might be a good thing. It depends whether this coronavirus actually kicks off. But yeah, I was going to say I would have thought that might be a good thing considering coming financial banking implosion that's looming over the horizon. That can't be far away now, surely.
Well, you're right about that. And boy, Thailand does look like an interesting place to visit and perhaps even retire. So for Westerners who are always looking for ways, especially baby boomers, trying to figure out how to make those retirement dollars stretch, sounds like Thailand might be one country to put on your radar.
Yeah, definitely, because you can get a retirement visa out here if you're over 50 and you can prove a certain amount of income. But that amount of income, if it's a pension fund in the US, you'd easily be able to pass the tests. It's not a great deal, I don't think, and you then can come out here and live out here on a retirement visa. It's what it's designed for. So if you're struggling and over 50 on a pension in the US or the UK or Germany or whatever, just come out to Thailand. It'll go way further. I don't earn a huge amount, but I've got disposable income at the end of the month every month. Travel is astonishingly cheap as well. I mean, Chiang Mai's got an international airport, and I can get to Vietnam, Singapore, all for $50, $100, depending on how far it is. But, different parts of Thailand for $30 or $40, depending on Bangkok for about $20, $25. It's getting around is easy.
$25 for a flight for a plane ticket?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, easy. I mean, it's like a 500-mile journey from Chiang Mai to Bangkok. But if you pick a time like Tuesday midday when nobody else picks it, yeah, it can easily be in the $25, $30 range. Wow. I see that all the time. Yeah. So and Phuket, I can be on the beach for $50, I think, from Chiang Mai. So if I ever fancy just like, I fancy going to a beach for a few days, I can just jump on a plane. It's just super simple, super easy. And going through airports in Asia is just a lot easier. You just go through customs, walk straight through. It's you're not treated like a criminal, and you never think you're going to be. It's just super smooth.
Huh. Well, that sounds fantastic.
There's no TSA either.
No, you're right. They've made it so miserable to get through an airport in this country now. I don't even like to travel anymore because they've literally made you feel like a prisoner or, you're in slave training to go through the airports these days. It seems like they've made it so unpleasant.
This growing control grid is getting worrying on that basis on the flights, because how long before you can't get on a flight to go where you want, especially outside of the country, without showing that you've been vaccinated, or one of the 101 different things they want an RFID chip or something like that. That's coming. I mean, was it Aaron Russo? that sort of kind of mentioned that. And this is the scary thing: the flight travel, you won't be able to do it unless you can prove you've been vaccinated for coronavirus or something, or whatever virus they're going to come up with next. It can be quite scary, this control grid that's coming in, and the TSA is just first steps in it, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And they're pushing real ID, I think, in 2021, perhaps, or 2021. I think you won't be able to fly without the real ID. So they're really locking.
Yeah, but then that's going to contain. Sorry, you're cutting out a bit. That's going to contain medical information, I would think, in eventually, and then obviously it'll, if you don't have the right vaccinations, you won't be able to leave your country. Yeah. That's coming. If we let that's coming.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt, I'm jealous of anybody who is in your neck of the woods and can join up with you and grab a beer and maybe go check out some of those stores. And what a neat place you live, and you're an adventurous spirit. I appreciate all you do too over at sgtreport.com, buddy.
Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure. I mean, I genuinely enjoy doing it. That's the funny thing. Is getting out of bed to do this sort of thing. Is not. I don't get out of bed and go, oh, I've got to do it. There's nothing. I just get out of bed and go, oh, what's happened in the world today? And I just pile on, and I go through, I don't know, 150 websites, and it's just a matter of putting all that together so that a complete picture of what's happening is available for people.
Yeah, real news, the antidote to corporate propaganda. So you don't start your day at CNN, huh?
But only if I want to laugh. No, absolutely not. That's just getting a more and more absurd channel as time goes on, isn't it? Don Lemon, Chris Cuomo, utter jokes. I've literally no idea why people listen to them. But then I'm starting to think that about, or have been thinking that about the BBC even. It's just become one political opinion only, and if you disagree with it, you're a racist or a homophobe, whatever moniker they want to give you.
Right.
And these sort of institutions have completely lost the trust of the British people, I think, and the Americans. It's like, I think trust in the mainstream media is just plummeting. The BBC is just, I think she's just giving Greta Thunberg her own show. I mean, you couldn't imagine anything. Yeah, you couldn't imagine anything more completely out of touch than doing that. They've just got a complete pasting with Brexit and Boris Johnson's election victory. That rammed home what people actually wanted and think about the liberal establishment, and the BBC thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, they're taking layoffs left, right, and centre right at the moment. So, they're waking up to reality, I think. And Boris is threatening to cut their funding.
Good.
Make them subscription. Yeah. Don't get me wrong; they're up in arms about it. But I think the British people are like, what's the problem with that? You don't represent me anymore. Yeah. So, I wouldn't pay for them.
Well, you mentioned CNN and BBC. You mentioned CNN and BBC, and we need to remind people that the BBC covered up the crimes of Jimmy Savile for 3 decades. And meanwhile, over at CNN, and at CNN, you have Jake Tapper, whose wife Jennifer told the Washingtonian before anybody had ever heard the term Pizzagate, their favorite family restaurant was Comet Ping Pong, and their favorite date night restaurant, Jennifer and Jake Tapper's favorite date night restaurant was Buck's Fishing and Camping, I think is what it's called. Both of those Alefantis-owned restaurants. You can't make it up.
What are the odds? The BBC, I think they covered up Savile. They knew about him for, I think he started late 70s, early 80s. And apparently everybody knew, everybody, BBC, he used to visit children's hospitals, and I think the nurses were known for saying, "Don't leave him alone with the children." And everybody knew. He was good friends with Prince Charles, wasn't he? And I think didn't the FBI just come out last year and admit that Lord Mountbatten, I think, was a known paedophile, and he's was the uncle of Prince Philip, so he's definitely connected to the royal family there.
Yeah, Jimmy Savile was a made man. He was protected by the royals, specifically by Prince Charles.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was procuring. Was it the Kincola? Was that the name of the Kincora? That's it. Kincora Boys Home in Belfast. He was supposed to have procured children for Lord Mountbatten, I think. So yeah, not a great piece of work. Which is it was surprising to me because he was like a childhood. I wouldn't say idol, but he was like a childhood entertainer. So as I was growing up, he was the guy on telly that that helped kids. Turns out he wasn't.
Monsters among us, man. Absolute monsters among us. Well, brother, thank you so much for joining us. It was wonderful to have this conversation. I hope the audience enjoyed it, and you are an important part of the SGT Report team. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
All right, guys, our guest has been Matt, my contributor from sgtreport.com, your home for real news 24/7, the antidote to corporate propaganda. So a shout out to our patrons who are keeping us in this fight for truth. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We love you. Have a great week ahead. God bless. Bye-bye.
Those are going to be the places where you do not want to be if something does go down, because it will be mayhem.